The food mixer, a mechanical baker that no professional kitchen could live without. How is this machine capable of churning through a bowl full of thick dough? Beneath its skin sits a powerful motor. It can wrestle dough for hours and not burn out. A gearbox amplifies the kneading force. Down below, it has a tough aluminum mixing hook that won't bend or break. 190 pounds of metal muscle that never gets tired. Plowing through thick bread mix is the food mixer's hardest task. The way it is built in this Ohio factory is the key to how it copes when the doughing gets tough. Workers here manufactured the world's first mixer in 1914. On its own, the mixer's electric motor is not enough to tackle the thickest mix.
It would be extremely hard to mix with just a motor sitting here. It takes all the gears combined together to mix the thick dough.
Brandon gears up the machine for the task.
This machine has a gearbox, sort of like a car.
Brandon installs 9 cogs that reduce the speed from the motor but increase its strength. He must fill the gearbox with grease to lubricate the gears. But the grease creates a problem.
You need the grease to stay in the gearbox and not down in your food.
No one wants their bread to taste of engine oil. The food mixer's gearbox must be tightly sealed to ensure the grease inside does not leak out into people's food. Brandon bolts down this top plate to seal the gearbox. He must tighten the bolts very carefully, or the gears could be ruined.
If you don't put the bolts in properly, it could cause this whole top plate to be lopsided, which can break the teeth on the individual gears. After the top cover is locked down, I turn this to make sure none of the gears are binding and everything moves freely. It looks good.
For a good bake, it's critical to get an even mix of ingredients. Just stirring the mixture from the center won't blend everything properly. How does the machine make sure no piece of dough gets left behind? Under the mixer's hood, a half-horsepower electric motor rapidly spins a drive shaft. Gears slow the revs, but crank up the force. Under the gearbox, one small cog spins as it moves around the inside of a larger gear wheel. The gear wheel turns the hook, which scrapes the dough from the edge of the bowl and pounds it in the middle. Before it leaves the factory, the team must test mix a batch of dough. Teresa is the testing lab's head baker. She uses a robotic dough mix, known as a brake, instead of flour and water. Teresa's ears are finely tuned to the sound of anything out of the ordinary.
If there is a burr on your gear, you're going to hear it thumping. Or the speed, sometimes the speeds will jump. This one sounds good and is ready to be cleaned and shipped to the customer.
This mixer is finally ready to start its life as the workhorse of the kitchen. Without a food mixer, making bread is more work than play. Thanks to this ingenious invention, you can take the backache out of baking.